To the Temkin community and everyone seeing us everywhere on other networks as well as on YouTube, we'd love to welcome you to this session, wonderful session, which is going to be presented by Professor Eric Tsui. And today's session is entitled Technologies for Facilitating Knowledge Creation and Learning. And as I usually say, take notes and be ready to ask questions. As of now, I'm going to hand over to Professor Eric Tsui to guide us in today's session.
Thank you. Just testing my audio and my screen. I suppose you can see my screen. And can you confirm that my audio is coming through loud and clear with clarity? Thank you.
Everything is at 100. Thank you.
Wonderful. All right. I framed today's talk as technologies for facilitating knowledge creation and learning. So I think it requires some justification for the choice of this topic. Now, we all know that we are under immense pressure to innovate. Not a day goes by without hearing the word innovation to me. But innovation, as we all understand now, is not just working faster. It's just not speeding up the processes, right? Working harder. That's not good enough. We still not be achieving success in innovation. Innovation often requires perhaps a redesign of a business model, improving some of our processes in terms of efficiency and enhancing productivity, but also coming up with new products and services, or even cracking a whole new market segment. So not to get too complicated, innovation requires us to achieve success in a separate and a new dimension. So with that in mind, I like to stress the importance of learning and knowledge, because as you can see from this diagram here, I start with learning, and it yields knowledge, increased knowledge, better knowledge, and then with knowledge we can innovate. So allow me to explain. We learn all the time. Well, we have to learn all the time. You and I are learning. I'm learning from you, and you are learning and learning, sharing with me as well as with other people, right? So learning helps us to enhance our knowledge horizon. It helps us to broaden our knowledge in the sense that not just acquiring new things, but also progressively assimilating, articulating new knowledge with what we already know. And that is very important. So with all these dots connected as synapses inside our brain, we should be able to come up with more ideas, the aha moment. And, I've seen this before. Now I understand, why this is connected to this and that and so forth, right? So with ideas, we can be generating more and more with the new knowledge that is being created. And hopefully, among many of the ideas being created, some of those will make it to the real world and demonstrate with success. And that's where we have the first taste of success of innovation. And of course, if we can start innovation success and can be able to sustain it, then it's wonderful, because we will have real economic development, a good outcome for the individual, outcome for the company, for the team, as well as for the country and also for the world. So this is a wonderful chain reaction. So start with learning, and ultimately we aim to enhance economic development. So once again, these three terms, which are intrinsically related, I believe it's really holds the secret formula to success, and that is knowledge, learning, and innovation. So allow me to expand more, and I'll start with knowledge management, with knowledge processes. Every day we are, involved in knowledge-intensive activities. We think, we discuss, we share, we collaborate, we make decisions, we learn, we reflect, and more, right? So among all these, and I would say that at least in the context of today's discussion, knowledge creation is the most important one among all product processes. Why? Because if you just think about it, knowledge creation is not just creating a new document, but as I said, the many things sparked our knowledge expansion of knowledge horizon. So, for example, if you look at here, carrying out an experiment, studying a problem, coming up with solutions, solving a problem, observing a pattern, operationalize it, brainstorming ideas. All these are, in fact, evidence of knowledge creation, right? It doesn't have to be profound. All you need is to connect the dots inside our head. Dots linking existing knowledge, dot linking existing and new knowledge, and dots linking new knowledge as well, right? So Once these dots are connected, it is wonderful and inspires us to offer new ideas and creativity. Now, coming to the technology side, because remember, today's title is about technologies for enhancing knowledge creation and innovation. So I have to talk about technology side. Obviously, for a talk of less than 1 hour, it's impossible to come up with all the technologies. But before that, let's agree on the value that's added by technologies. Now, we are not talking about just the storing, retrieval, renaming things and so forth. But today we should be thinking about on appreciating and enjoying about how technologies can enhance each one of these boxes, like immediacy, at 12 o'clock, the ability to provide information almost instantly, and then embodiment, embedding the technology in a transparent way, discovering new trends and patterns so that we can, study it and then find ways to take advantage of it, whatever that means, right? Ways to authenticate, to verify the independence, the authenticity, the truthfulness of information. Of course, this takes more than technology to do it. Interpret it, not just dumping you with information, but providing you with in context information, right? And connecting the dots, personalization, and so forth. So all these are extremely valuable. And to me, a combination of these technological, enhancements actually create the value that we so appreciate it. But it's more than just technology, because I like to point out several other things, especially data. In today's modern industry system, today's digital society, that is amplifying the value of ICT in value creation. Because if you look at this diagram, we are getting a lot more data today than, for example, 10-15 years ago, thanks to IoT, Internet of Things, right? We have algorithms, not just AI, but other algorithms as well, existing ones, old ones, new ones, other than AI, and AI, of course, right? That can operate on the data and do wonderful things. They can learn, they can discover, they can detect, they can categorize, they can cluster, okay? Integration, the standards enable us to integrate the access to data. So in other words, algorithms can operate more on a wider set of data instantly, so that, if you design it properly, you can only assume that the algorithm will function more accurately, and the predictions will be more precise, okay? And automation is not new, but with the developments that I've just mentioned about, that we've seen additional automation that we never had before. And this is very exciting. So, especially for the human being, we can relax more, because we can safely assume that up to certain level of risk that we can tolerate, technologies can handle more for us. They don't need us to provide the input every second, put it this way, right? And again, because of the technology and the computational power, or the enhancing computational power, much of these analysis and activities and operational policies can be executed in real time, and that is once again very exciting. We don't have to wait, we don't need to endure a delay in the analysis before we realize exactly what happened. So I would say that the appropriate use of data actually amplifies the value that is generated by ICT, as I mentioned in the previous slide. So let's have a look at technologies. Of course, for a talk of this duration, it is impossible to cover all the technologies. And not only that, I'm not capable of tracking and understanding all the technologies. So, based on my ability and based on the time frame that is available, I'll cover, based on Gartner's research, Tech Times, and World Economic Forum. What you see here are the major emerging technologies agreed by these, sources in 2026. I'm going to focus on two of them, very popular ones, right? One is, the AI, automated systems, autonomous systems, and second, connectivity and immersive technology. So, extended reality. In fact, beyond AI and extended reality, let me also add gamification. That's something that I've done as well. Although gamification, strictly speaking, is not a technology, right? It's a way of using technology to achieve certain types of outcome with a framework. But anyway, be that as it may, let me include that in the discussion today. All right. Earlier on, I said that we are compelled to innovate, and I would say that based on what I've done, you should be able to see how technologies, can be applied to, for example, enhance efficiency and productivity, use it to generate competitive advantage, and of course, use technologies to enhance learning and also to expand the characteristics, the product features of products and also services. Now, let me also clarify the research that I have done for this piece of presentation is based on desk-based research, based on the material that I found on the internet and from the library, as well as personal experience observed from operationalizing some of the techniques that I will talk about, and I get feedback from my students as well as from my colleagues as well. And thirdly, some of the findings are also thanks to input by practitioners that I've spoken to, whom I believe are experts in these particular areas. All right, so let me just zoom to the end stage of the presentation first, in case that I run out of time. I would say that appropriate use of AI gamification and extended reality enables personalization, massive personalization, in delivery of learning content, learning sequence, and also in other types of knowledge services. Gamification allows us to provide interactive feedback. It enables motivation and stimulate curiosity for the learner. Extended reality also takes understanding, appreciation to a new dimension, a dimension that physical dimension alone cannot match, right? So that is wonderful. We are exploring, for the first time, we are exploring a new dimension, a new environment of learning, which the physical environment can never equal, right? So we have much to explore, and it's up to us on how to best balance the combination of virtual and physical environment in order to achieve the maximum possible outcome for each individual learner. Okay. And lastly, the scalability of knowledge. Again, thanks to cloud computing, thanks to AI, we are able to do personalization to a big scale. Right to the individual level, not just to a group of people, but to every individual. And we can scale the learning, for example, of any concept to any extent, to any level of personalization, to almost indefinitely. And with that, you will appreciate, let me just bring forward the outcome and the benefits of these three approaches. Firstly, they help to accelerate the speed of knowledge processes. Second, it helps to improve knowledge retention and transfer, enhances learning and skill development for the individual, enhances innovation and productivity capabilities, improves decision-making, make it more consistent and quality decisions, extends scalability and also reach, and increases the adaptability in a rapidly changing environment. All these, I would say, are valuable and crucial in an increasingly volatile world. That's volatile, uncertain, complexity, and augmented society. Okay. Now, let me focus on these three areas. The first one, I go with gamification first. Okay. And part of this was taken from an earlier presentation that I did at Tamkan International Talk as well. And this is using AI to stimulate innovation via the form of a game, right? Because there's written evidence all over the place in research that if we, apply gamification concepts appropriately, learners and curiosity of the motivation and curiosity of the learners should be enhanced, okay? And it also help at the same time broaden and expand their discipline knowledge. So I thought it's certainly worthwhile and tempting to try. So the exact gamification method that I try is competition, right? Competition. So it's about competing for knowledge, competing for, the good responses to questions, right? And again, research has well documented that competition enhances motivation and excitement, enhances engagement, improve knowledge retention, and through interactive experiences, and it promotes a positive and sustainable learning environment. Well, you see, exactly this is what I have done. Well, not in a boxing ring, but an analogy of what I've done. In retrospect, I thought I was silly enough to put myself in the ring to compete with ChatGPT. Well, what did I do? What exactly did I do? Well, it sounds very simple, but I thought it's a bit silly at that time. Now looking back, we'll put it this way. Well, the idea is, I set off with a set of questions and ask students to pick the set of questions that I'm going to go through first, and then ChatGPT is going to respond to each one of those after my response. Okay, so I don't know ChatGPT's response when I first respond, and not revealing to me is after I answer each question and ChatGPT follows, the student complete a survey about professor's answer is better, the ChatGPT answer is better, or the combined response is better. Okay, and I only get to know about the final tally of responses and who's doing better after the entire competition is over, and typically that is about 6 to 7 questions. So that's part one of the session, and part two of the session, the students and I go into discussions about what can be better in order to drive ChatGPT to provide better solution, how to prompt the question better, all related issues to ethics, confidentiality, and privacy. So what you see here is an initial set of questions. And as I said, I ask my students to write the ones that they prefer. You don't need to strain your eyes, but you can see that there's some numbers above the bars. And those that attract the highest numbers, in other words, most students write them. I choose the top 6 or 7 to go into that competition. So as I said, it's quite stressful. Because I answer first, and I don't know what ChatGPT will say, and I don't know how the student would write until all these questions were over. So luckily, for the multiple times that I have conducted, I still have an edge over ChatGPT. But interestingly, you should also observe the red bar. The red bar represents the combined response is better, right? So on many occasions, the student appreciate that the professor's answer, while it's good, the ChatGPT's answer is also acceptable or even good, right? But the combined response is even better. So I appreciate that a lot because after all, I'm a human being. I wouldn't be able to recall everything and cover everything. If the students, truly appreciate that the combined response is better, then they certainly have merit in it, and we should pay more attention to this. So as I said, in the second half of the session, the students, conduct reflections about, how to decompose the problem so that, they can get better response out of ChatGPT. Are there any, potential or violation of ethical issues involved when ChatGPT responds? What about disclosure of confidentiality and privacy data? Okay, and we all know that generative AI has algorithmic bias. So is that evidenced in the presentation or in the response by ChatGPT? If so, how to do about it? How to detect it? And finally, how to reconcile between theory and practice, because some of the questions are actually practice oriented, and ChatGPT would not be able to provide a good answer because it has no brain and it hasn't got any mental model at all. So let alone being able to answer anything that relate to practice. So based on my students' discussion, they have provided this feedback. He said that sometimes the teacher's answer is not the best answer. I'm really glad about it. I'm not angry. I'm really glad about it. You know, the students should not assume that the teacher's answer is the best. Second, maintaining my curiosity, I can learn from ChatGPT. So I'm equally very, happy to hear that. And that is students are motivated, right? They find that there's something that in ChatGPT that can offer them and guide them to learn more and more. ChatGPT response is almost instant and I can interact with it anytime. So it's convenient, it's ubiquitous. I should think critically on everything I learn from the teacher and ChatGPT. Wonderful, right? Again, nothing is Almighty God. Any response can be wrong. There could be erroneous. So it's very much up to every learner to think and independently verify if indeed what he hear or read from the response is totally correct or not. Now I'll see whether you can listen to this feedback by Dr. Christian Marsdorf, who is a lecturer, my counterpart at Stellenbosch University in South Africa, when I conduct this competition over the Zoom session with his students.
The lecture showed ChatGPT in action in the context of the students' study area of knowledge management. Since the questions came from a pool of questions that the students contributed themselves, they had an immediate interest in the answers. The competition format was also entertaining and increased student engagement about practical questions around knowledge management. It made the lecture fun and students literally learned whilst laughing. Yesterday, a student commented to me that whilst ChatGPT gave very convincing and concise answers, they thought that Professor Tsui's answers had the benefit of concrete real-world examples that comes from personal experience.
Right. So, I would interpret it to mean that students appreciate the response by ChatGPT. But again, as I said, you cannot beat a human's response, especially when it comes to address the theory-practice gap. Because as I rightly pointed out earlier, ChatGPT does not have a brain, doesn't have a mental model, does not collect any experience. So therefore, it is no match to, when you try to ask it to regurgitate exactly what happened in practice when you apply this particular theory, for example. So I'm highly appreciative of this pedagogy that I've so developed. So that's review, discuss, and reflect. To review the response from the teacher and ChatGPT, discuss about how ChatGPT perform, and also reflect upon what else can be done in order to improve the response. Student appreciate very much. So in terms of benefits, I surely have been proven that there's increased engagement and confidence by the students, as well as the motivation. The competition have enabled them to better articulate new knowledge with existing knowledge, enable their skill development, especially on critical thinking, enable the development of a new pedagogy, and also to enable my students to be aware, or sometimes even convinced, that the teacher's answer may be wrong or incomplete. The teacher is not the Almighty God. He or she can be wrong. My own reflection is, firstly, ChatGPT versus Professor competition proved that when applying with care and consciousness, the combined response from the two is often better than the individual response. Second, this is a new and refreshing experience. As before, there is rarely anything or anyone who could challenge or contradict what a teacher says in class, right? So I'm not sure about students in your part of the world, but in Asian environment, Asian students are, nearly all of them are introverts. So they rarely, speak out in front of the teacher. They would treat the teacher's words as Bible. And I don't think that is right, because this experiment has exposed to the students that the teacher's answer, the teacher's response may not be correct. Okay, and exactly, that's the third point. The students all realize that the teacher professor's response may not always be complete or correct. They can also learn from alternative sources with caution. So I think this is a wonderful reflections that I've gained from operating this competition. The second area that I would like to cover technologies is metaverse, right? Now, as you probably know or have tried metaverse before, you understand that metaverse is a highly immersive and surreal environment. Okay, combining virtual, with physical objects, typical virtual, right? But you can convert physical objects into the virtual world as well, and it provides a very surreal environment for people to explore. And it is very immersive. Okay, so you can simulate any environment that you would like inside a metaverse, and people can go there and to watch, to touch, to discuss, to move objects around and experiment things. Okay, the metaverse, have this counterparts. For example, virtual reality, augmented reality, and avatars. But I think none of those is as ubiquitous as metaverse. So out of these four, I would say metaverse is the superior one, where it is totally immersive and surreal, and it's continuous. And the data usually stored in a metaverse is used by a blockchain, so it's very, very secure. So various universities have found good uses of the metaverse: virtual tours, virtual laboratories, collaborative learning spaces, and simulation and role play, and also, of course, immersive and gamified learning environments. So it's really endless opportunity for carrying out learning activities in the metaverse. Well, for me, I've been using metaverse, on multiple fronts, and this is one of my earlier presentations or earlier groups of presentations where I actually deliberately conduct my presentation inside a metaverse, right? Maybe we can do one in the forthcoming TEMCAN International Talk, right? So I mount all my slides on one of the walls and purposely reproduce some of the key slides on other walls as well. Now the idea is the student can come to the space, right? To review, to attend the talk, to download the material, to enlarge it, to share, and to discuss, or even leave notes for the teacher. Okay, so as a teacher, I would regularly come back here to see if the students have left me any questions, and then I will respond to it. So the idea is to have a one-stop hub for gathering all the knowledge that would actually garner connections. Well, people don't come here just to download material and leave forever, never come back. No, they come back here regularly with the intention of revisiting certain key concepts, with the hope of meeting other peers and perhaps the teacher in there, so that they can continue their learning in real time, or if not possible, at least they can leave questions, and through asynchronous means, they can receive response from the teacher and from their peers as well. So my students like it very much, and I am intending to continue to use this kind of learning environment. Well, that success has prompted me to design more metaverse spaces, and I went on to develop 3 different other categories of metaverse categories. One is called Metaverse Gallery. Similar to the previous one, the idea is to gather everything, in a big gallery with different halls, right, and rooms, so that, in one integrated space, the learners can come and check out everything and conduct all their activities. Seeing that I have a bit of time, so I can maybe take you on a ride on this anatomy one. which is developed by one of my colleagues. I think I need to stop sharing the screen and share another screen. So maybe just bear with me for a sec. Okay, I'm sharing an entire screen this time. You can see my screen?
Yeah, we can see your screen.
Okay. So this time you can see a metaverse pop-up screen.
Yes, you're connected.
Okay. So I'm in this metaverse, which is designed to enable students to learn anatomy. So let me see. All right, so you can see that there's a video in there. We won't play it, and this is your landing area, and the student can go and check out, scan those QR code, and read whatever necessary information they need to be familiar with before they proceed with the rest of the gallery. So let's go up there. So you can see that the floor is laid out with runners, showing them where to go. So let's go to Zone 2. Okay, so you can see that Zone 2, it's got a little chat box waiting for you to explain anything that you would like to know. It's also got, the X-Ride for the student to view and possibly answer some questions, right? So because you can see that there's a button answer in there and a restart button. And they're bored of this. So you can see that this area is a whole series of X-ray screen that the teacher has designed for the students to review and answer quizzes. Let's go to another floor and see if we can follow the runners. Okay, so it's another area, introduction to CT brain. So similar, the structure, but not, of course, not the same images for the students to review one by one. And I think we don't need to go any further. Again, there will be a quiz for the student to answer at the end of all the reviews. Okay, so let's see if we can go back and have a look. So it's amazing, just to give you an idea, so students feel very excited to explore the various spaces that the teacher has designed for them. And from the teacher side, I can also let you know that, this whole 3-story building, there's a template for it, right? So we don't need to build it. It's already in the software. And all we need to build is the name and the actual picture that we want to mount on the walls. So typically, in a few days, you can set up a metaverse of this extent, right? To this extent, which is quite elaborate, right? I believe my colleague have used it for at least several semesters with good outcome. So there are others as well, but in the interest of time, we move forward. The second category of metaverse is, I call it metaverse collaboration. It's similar to it's a breakout room in online collaboration too. I think that this Temtech technology also have one. So normally in breakout rooms, you are being put into a very plain vanilla kind of room with nothing in there. But with metaverse, again, we can personalize it, we can build it up, decorate it with the necessary information, knowledge, objects, links, reports, whatever, right? So that when students are being sent to those discussion room, they are enriched by the environment, and hopefully, because of the enriched environment, the discussion can be more quality. They can go into more in-depth discussions, and we should be able to tell when they come out of the discussion and share their findings. So that's the idea. The third area of metaverse category that I've designed is metaverse technologies. It's a name, and what I try to do here is to again find out what are the activities, the objects, the learning sequence that makes wearing and not wearing a pair of physical goggles very important, right? Because as you appreciate, just now I show you into the metaverse. I suppose you're not wearing any particular goggles, but in a metaverse environment, you can wear, for example, Oculus, a special brand that that produces, goggles, right? So you can wear goggles which amplify your virtual environment. So this part of the project is to explore under what situations, what type of learning objects, what type of learning sequence, and also under what environment that the student wearing versus the student not wearing the goggles make a profound difference in the learning. Okay, so it's also a very, I suppose, important study. We've tried it with many different subjects, and you can see if I run your eyes over the high, bold, and large fonts, you can see that we applied to accounting, fashion, pathology, biomedical applications, product development, hotel and tourism management, and also industrial engineering covering business intelligence and data mining. So this is the response from the students. So again, let me just play it very briefly.
The metaverse has brought me a higher participation level because there are more clear voice and the information shown on the screen, which helped me to know about what the teacher was saying. And what's more, the question made me more focused on the content which the teachers were teaching.
Right. So again, I would interpret that the student has a positive experience about the metaverse. Much remains to be improved further, but that's a good start. The students have indicated that they are positive and they're receptive to the use of the metaverse in teaching and learning, and so far they have enjoyed a positive experience. All right, so these are the project findings, but I'm not going to go into the details here, and I will go into the third area that I want to cover for this talk, and that's the technology for enhancing learning. So we have developed a tool called the Socratic Playground for learning. Now, AI has a big impact on learning, and one of the big impact is on personalizing the learning. Personalizing the learning content, personalizing the learning sequence, personalizing the learning method and the learning environment. Okay, now I really mean personalizing, so customization to the extreme, right to the individual. So obviously, so far, teaching in a classroom, I wasn't able to do that, because I don't have the, the span in attention. I don't have the resources available to understand the need of each student. But with AI, much can be collected, analyzed, and then, customized it for the student. So this is very exciting. Of course, this can never replace the real teacher, but, you will see, a great part of the customization can be done, nevertheless, by AI with care. So I suppose, your part of the universities are like ours. We are worried. We are worried with the increasing popularity of AI that students may not be thinking, as vigorous as they should be about, answering any questions. The worst case would be students just take the question from the teacher and type it into ChatGPT and copy the response and give it to the teacher. That would be a disaster. We better not have AI rather than AI in that case, right? Because that actually replaces a human being's own thinking. So we are worried about that. Well, our solution to that is take an alternative approach, right? While on one hand, we definitely encourage students to use AI constructively and appropriately, positively. But at the same time, we are also very cautious, remind, guide, and facilitate our students to ensure that they do not directly copy the ChatGPT's response without their own checking and thinking, and use that as the assignment. Okay. So we turn to a technique called Socratic learning. Well, Socratic learning is not new, right? So Socrates is the old Greek philosopher. Socratic learning, it's about breaking a problem down into sub questions and so forth, guiding the learner to understand the essence of the problem, and guiding the learner interactively, providing feedback so that he or she can deduce the answer himself. Right? So in other words, in Socratic learning, you never give out the direct answer. You never give out the ultimate answer. Instead, you construct a set of dialogue, cascading dialogue, bringing the student progressively, step by step, understanding deeper about the issue, and then eventually being able to guide the student to deduce, possible answers or possible solutions to the very question that you have raised. Okay. So that is Socratic learning. So the tool that we have developed is Socratic Playground for Learning. So as you can rightly imagine, it helps the student to identify topics to learn, propose subtopics, decompose the problem into a set of questions and scenarios, and then walk through the students with a set of questions regarding those scenarios, solicits the input from the student, and then give feedback on the student's response, and then progressively guide him or her to deduce the right answer. And in that process, the software also, monitors and reports incrementally as well as collectively the students' performance, in answering each of the questions. Okay, and you report back to the teacher as well as to the student. Okay, for judgment and decision purposes. Okay, so this is a walkthrough about the areas that the input fields for the SPL, Socratic Playground for Learning. You can see that it asks about the language option. You'll be amazed. I'm assuming that a large part of the audience is from Africa. There's SPL can handle about 60 different languages in Africa. Although I know, Africa has also thousands of languages, but 60 is impressive, at least for a start. Okay, so it suggests the discipline, the sub-disciplines. It suggests the learning aim. The learner makes the ultimate decision, put it this way, the learning content, and ask the learner about the academic background. So are you a primary school, secondary school, tertiary, postgraduate student, a business professional, or a specialist or something like that? Okay, so it also asks in what learning environment you would like to pursue your learning. Okay, and then you come up with a target concept one by one for you to learn. You can pace through them yourself. You can jump among the concept to connect the concepts. It shows you how these concepts are connected by a knowledge map. This is an example of the learning environment. You can learn it via online discussions. You can learn it via case studies. You can learn it via in-class environment. You can learn it via a collaborative space and other means. Okay, seeing I have a little bit of time, I can do a snapshot of different stages of the demonstration of this tool. So what you're seeing here is a demonstration of the SPL. So logging in, I'll skip the various parts. So now it's going through the topics. So you want to learn about business administration. All right, fair enough. What else under business administration? So I don't see anything. I want to learn about knowledge management. Okay, you can type it in. So I type it in. and then generate the learning aim, right? So depending on the aim, you have different learning content, okay? So I'll decide on that, and I'll go to the next field, learning context. So you can see that quite a range of things that you can learn from different perspectives and in different contexts as well. All right, so let's go. Declare yourself what level of learning qualifications you already have, right? Whoops, sorry. Okay, teaching methodology, and let's pick Socratic method. That's the main method with this software. So I think we can go with that. Okay, so it generates, because I've picked Socratic method, so this green area is basically explaining, justifying what is Socratic method, why is it appropriate to use, okay? What are the key points of the Socratic method? So I'm getting familiarized with this method of learning, okay? And on the left-hand side bar, you can see that these are the list of concepts related to knowledge creation, which I've selected earlier, okay? I can pick on one of them, knowledge sharing, okay? So knowledge sharing, you see that you will start to plot related concepts at the top there, right? Related to knowledge sharing. And I can click on any one of those to expand, and it will generate a set of questions for me to answer. Why a scenario? So building a culture of trust is important. Trust building, all right? So I want to learn more about this. So give me content. Right, see the content is coming through, and then you will ask questions as well. Ask me to read it through, think about it. Oops. So it tracks my response, and then tell me whether I'm answering it correct or not, right? I can also tell the software, me being the learner, I can also tell the software that something that I'm not confident, right? So it will help me further. So I want to know more about the scenario. Give me more guidance. So there you go. It's flush out the detailed information about the scenario. They continue to monitor my response. Not only that, but he analyzed my responses together with others, in the sense that where did I get it wrong and where did I get it right, okay, together with other people. So collectively, the software can also respond and report back to the teacher and the learner, what percentages of questions that you answer correctly, and what are the reasons that you answer correctly, and which part of the questions that you do not do well, and why you're not doing well. Okay, so it just gives you not just a point or a score, but it actually analyze your response and try to find out the main reasons why you didn't get it correctly. Okay, together with the responses of other peers as well. So it's immensely useful to the teacher, assuming the teacher is letting go, all the students to independently work with the SPL, and then the teacher would be transitioned to a role of analyzing the students' performance individually and collectively, and then in the next class, the teacher can provide the appropriate supplement or correction to point out to individual student and collectively to the class about how they should improve, or maybe something that the teachers did not do well, and therefore led to so many students not being able to get over that concept understanding correctly. So, it works both ways, put it this way. This is the part where you analyze for green for all the positive answers, why people are getting it right. On the red one, you just saw for all the wrong answers, why people are not getting it right. I want to show you the last part. This is it. This is it. The last part. I talked about personalization, right? So, this personalization is really to the extreme. What I mean is, you can go through this personalization engine by telling the software where you live, right down to the street level, right? What are your hobbies, the food, and of course, which country you belong to, your university, if you're a university student, and more, okay? So based on that information, you will actually develop scenarios that is customized to your local surroundings, right? So if I tell you that I'm from PolyU, I like sushi, then in a scenario, it would, infiltrate terms like having Japanese food in your locality. You go to this restaurant, you encounter this situation, how would you respond? Things like that, right? So it really customizes it right down to your local settings. Okay, so it's very exciting. For those of you who are interested, you may contact me later. I can provide you with a link which you can create an account and you can play around with the SPL. Okay, so to me, the important part about the SPL is not only just guide students to learn and continue to learn in a personalized way, but is on metacognition. Metacognition is, the level that is conscious about what you're doing, right? In this case, metacognition on the learning content. You're learning about what is being presented to you, okay, which you previously didn't have a clue about, the why or what you think you need to learn, okay? Second is the metacognition on the learning method, which again, maybe good, maybe bad, the average learner would not be able to come up with the learning method because he or she has not been trained to understand about the various learning methods and learning environments. So through this, he's aware about the different learning methods and environment, which ultimately he or she can choose and decide. So through metacognition, it helps to raise self-awareness, it helps to reflect, helps to plan better, to monitor, to self-regulate, and also to set goals better, right? So it's all very positive, okay? But I have a worry, before I finish this presentation, I like to present, despite all these, glorious achievements and good promises, I'm worrying about the continued infiltration of AI in teaching and learning, right? Look on the left-hand side, the teacher is teaching and pointing to something on the board, and I think that, if not 80%, maybe 68, 70% of teachers worldwide still doing this method. The teacher decides on the curriculum, decides on the learning objective, decides on the learning method, and decides on what to say, what to speak at each classes, right? But now with AI, we are transitioning rapidly to the right-hand side. What is that? And that is, the learning process is being decentralized. It's being democratized, right? Because individual learners, for the first time, they are asked to design their own curriculum. They are asked to pick the learning concepts. They are asked to pick the learning aims. You saw it on the SPL interface, right? And they are asked to select the learning environment and teaching method. Now, I have to ask, are the individual learners qualified and capable of answering those questions? I hope they are, but I have to say that I'm worried. I don't think they are, right? Why? Because even for teachers, sometimes they don't get it right. And teachers are professionally trained for education, right? So the individual learners in this world, even though that they may be eager in learning, I would say that they are not trained to make these decisions. Yet they are being asked to make these decisions now, and more people are being asked to make these decisions because the transitioning from the left to the right of this slide is happening rapidly, and that's a big worry, right? Most of my colleagues are focusing on applying AI at the operational level, and there's just insufficient research being done, and caution and governance being done at the strategic level, addressing exactly what I've just mentioned. Because this metacognition, or the lack of metacognition, is very important. How to prepare students for the change, how to enhance competency in AI, how to be astute about privacy and ethical issues, how to spot misinformation, and more, right? All right, so I'm on a finishing home run here. With proper applications of AI, gamification, and metaverse, we're supposed to achieve these benefits: improve knowledge retention and understanding, enhance engagement and motivation, development of critical skills, continuous feedback and improvement, scalability and accessibility, and lastly, preparation for future work environments. Now, I should also declare, now in the age of AI, with this presentation, how AI has improved, yes, and assisted me in the compilation of this piece of presentation. Background research is supported by Perplexity.ai, Gamma.app, and MS Copilot. Some whole slide images are generated by Gamma.app. Some slides are generated by Gamma.app, PresenterMedia.com, and SketchWow. The avatar, representing the student sharing, the words are actually from the students, but the avatar itself is by AI, by software called V.io. Okay, I think I've spoken enough, and it's a good time to finish, I think, allowing some time for Q&A. So I'll pass back to the MC. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor Eric Tsui. We'll finally arrive to the question section. There are some questions in the messages.
Okay, let me have a look.
Thank you very much.
Still trying to find that screen. Okay, in the chat, is that right? Okay, here. Right, the first one of the main challenges organizations face when implementing knowledge management system today. Okay, so that's not directly related to this presentation, but I'll answer it. I think the most important one is still culture and change. The technology is less important, right? You can, with appropriate resources, you have identified the right technology. You can develop the blueprint for implementation, but you have to cultivate change in people's mindset, change in people's behavior. Some people operate with the view that, I've been working for so long without KM. Is there an additional piece that will take me more time to do? Why would I have to use it? Okay, what is the benefit in me? So I think that is still a very viable question that need to address first before you can expect a good adoption, a frictionless adoption of KM and KMS in an organization. Second question: what role does tacit knowledge play in organizational learning, and how can technology? Wow, that's again not related to this presentation. It seems to be one of my earlier presentations. Well, it's highly related because learning happens a lot in our mind, in our brain. We do not have to write down everything we know. In fact, we never know everything that we know in our head anyway. So I would say that much of what's being learned is tacit knowledge and remains a tacit knowledge in our head. So that's more than answer the importance of tacit knowledge in learning, right? So one of the effective ways of helping to capture it, maybe I can suggest to change the word capture, right? Maybe to elicit it or make it flow more, naturally, right? Because if you can share tacit knowledge among multiple persons, and these people are still loyal to the company, and that's still very good because the tacit knowledge is still inside the company, right? So it's not necessarily that you capture it. Capture is a word that translates a lot of brittleness, put it this way. All right. So You can go back to one of my earlier presentations, but I'll also give you a highlight of the various techniques: job shadowing, mentoring, collaboration tools, knowledge map, conceptual tools for mapping knowledge graphs about how knowledge is being related, and also asking people to think aloud about how they actually solve a problem, so that you can document and try to repeat the process, right? And also communities of practice. It's also tend to be a commonly adopted method. So community filled with people who are willing to share and people who are hungry for a certain piece of knowledge. And if you bang them together, you have magic results with appropriate activities, of course, so that these sharings and learnings can happen in good faith, right? So it's not a easily directly answered question, but there are different techniques that has been developed and proven worked, but of course, not 100% is covered for tested knowledge. But there are certain techniques that are available. I would suggest you go back to one of my previous TAMCAN talks that talked about retention of tested knowledge, and there will be newer talks that I'm updating that part of the presentation and research. So you can expect that I will be, giving more talks in that area in the forthcoming weeks and months. Okay. Number 3, how can learning technologies enhance collaboration and innovation in academic and professional settings? Well, I think learning technologies are enhancing collaborations in academic, in industry anyway. So, for example, with my students, we use the Blackboard learning technologies, but of course that's not enough. We have supplemented with some other technologies as well, and that has worked wonderfully. My students, I like to think that my students are very much in sync with what I'm sharing, and they appreciate it, right? Professional settings. We could be talking about a total different breed of technologies, because in the professional world, in the corporate world, learning technologies tend to be different from what we are experiencing in academia. Academia tend to focus more on learning management systems and learning content management systems. And in corporate world, learning systems are more, the employee performance systems, as well as corporate learning systems, which are basically, a simpler version of the academic one. So if you can provide content, you can document the content, you can track who has done it, and you can generate a plan for who has done what, and also who needs to do more in order to achieve certain competencies. Okay, so these are the technologies in the corporate world of learning, as far as I understand it. Okay, I'm not 100, the full bottle on corporate learning. Number 4, what emerging trend in knowledge management do you believe is most underestimated today? Well, that's a tough question. In fact, I think most of us are only focusing on using generative AI in KM to retrieve information from the knowledge repository to address the knowledge gap. So you can say that whatever that is, other than indexing and retrieving knowledge from a repository, are areas that worthwhile to consider more. Okay, so for example, I've also been advocating the expansion of the body of knowledge from merely internal and to external. Now with ChatGPT, we have every reason to set up, a chatbot or a general AI system that not only harness and summarize what's being collected internally inside the firewall, but also reach out to the external world and then articulate, combine what's being found in the external world with what we have harnessed internally. Of course, we need to check and authenticate the information that is coming out from the external world. because not everything may be factual. So we need to check. But the internal one can be more trustworthy because that's being homegrown. Okay. So, it's a hard question to answer. I don't think I'm qualified to answer that. But we continue to learn together. I would say that at the moment, the identified uses of AI in KM is still quite limited. Okay. Because the technology is running away faster than any one of us. So we need to catch up and purposely identify the fruitful areas that AI can further help KM. But at the moment, I don't see any substantial work that is being identified so far.
Right, Professor Eric Tsui. I do have one question on the mic, though. I would like to provide a bit of context to where I'm coming from so you can help me understand. It's connected to the topic that we're just from looking at. And the question goes like this. Denmark for 10 years so far has been, like, how can I say, the forefront of pushing technology in school, helping students use technology so that they can improve on their learning. And as a trend, they have noticed that the concentration levels of their students has dropped down. Now, this year, 2026, and the years coming forth, they have planned to actually do a complete U-turn and completely get rid of all forms of technology, including computers and cell phones from most like their younger generation. Now, looking at today's topic, and we're speaking of technology and facilitating knowledge, do you think we can reach a place where technology does not diminish the concentration of students? Because I remember that was one of the points that led to gamification, so that people can stay more connected to actually what they are learning, because they are losing the level of concentration. So now, do you think it's possible for us to reach a level where there is a maximum concentration, and even when they are left outside the technology that they are using, maybe in the world out there, they're still their memory is good, their concentration is good without them being stuck to a screen?
Well, that's a very interesting question. I don't think I can answer directly that question, but I can tell you what I know and what some people are doing in order to shed light into what you are asking, right? And based on my career experience, firstly, I think it's very unlikely that we can go either way 100%. So 100% without technology will not work. 100% with technology, and technology only will not work as well, right? So somewhere in between possibly is a good balance. But somewhere in between, whether that is 80-20, 50-50, it remains to be decided and remains to be recalibrated from time to time, and also personalized for the individual. The other thing that I know is you are spot on. I have seen now there are activities by schools and by corporates where the people are being sent to some rural areas, and the rule is for 1 week or 2 weeks you stay there, and you survive on limited resources, and you do not have access to technology, right? Maybe just the matchbox and candles for light in the evening, right? So you are cut off from the rest of the world. You certainly do not have access to the internet, right? And no other technologies is available. So I suppose the purpose of that camp is to help us to rediscover our thinking skills, be able to go back to the fundamental, how we think, how we operate to survive without technology, because our ancestors have been surviving for hundreds of thousands of years without technology, right? So, with this rapid penetration of AI, I think, this would be a good measure to force us to quickly, regain our mental thinking skills and be able to realize that AI, after all, is just another technology, a powerful technology, a fast technology, but it's not a piece that will replace our thinking. Never. So that's the response that I can give to you, because I don't think I'm qualified to answer your question.
Thank you very much for even interacting with that thought, because I needed to share it with someone. Thank you very much, Professor Eric Tsui. I'm completely satisfied with your response. And seeing that there are no more questions in the messages, I think we've arrived at the end of today's session. And I'd love to thank everyone that has come for this session, and hopefully they have learned something on how to implement technology and how that can help with knowledge creation. I've personally learned a lot. I would now would love to specifically thank Professor Eric Tsui for giving us such a wonderful session once more, as he usually does. And I hope that he'll continue helping us understand and maneuver, work together with us until we reach a level where we will also be at his level. I hope so. We'll also be professors learning from him. But with this, I would also specifically thank you for this session, and hopefully we can have another session as well. If you have any last words that you'd love to share on this topic specifically, I'll hand over to you before we close.
Well, thank you very much. It's been a great pleasure and an honor to feature in the two series of Champion International Talks. So I will try to plan for another series as well, but that depends on how fast I can churn out new research and update existing work. But anyway, so I don't think you've seen the last of me. I will be back for another series, hopefully soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And I would love to say bye-bye to
Bye-bye.
everyone that is here. We meet next time. Thank you.